A Native Son's story. Miami music star Trick Daddy talks about his new book chronicling the ups and downs of his life in the Magic City. Early start. How local high schoolers are taking college classes before graduation. Giving back. How a community pulled together to transform the home of a family that's dedicated their lives to helping others. Now, your stories, your struggles, your successes. This is Focus on South Florida. Here now, Juwan Strader.
Good morning, South Florida. Thank you for joining us this Sunday. Well, South Florida is known for producing some of the major hip-hop artists around this area. Pitbull, Flo Rida, and DJ Khaled, just to name a few. But before those artists, they were, Uncle Luke and Trick Daddy. They dominated the airwaves. And Trick Daddy now has a new album coming out and a book based on his life overcoming the streets to make it as an artist. Well, Trick was supposed to be here with us, but he is battling lupus, basically an autoimmune disease that he wants to bring a lot of attention to. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. But we have the author of his book, former Miami Herald reporter Peter Bailey, joining me now to talk a little bit more about Trick Daddy's book. Good morning, Peter.
Good morning.
All right, man. Good to have you. Good to have you. Also a friend of mine as well, so I'm not ashamed to say that. Well, let's talk a little bit more about Trick Daddy. First off, the fact he couldn't be here because he was supposed to be here, but sure enough, he is battling lupus.
Yes, it's something that Trick was diagnosed with in 1998, and he decided finally to bring attention to it. So his absence from the industry, his absence from the limelight per se, has a lot to do with the ups and downs of lupus. As you can imagine, it's an illness that it can be very devastating. It's chronic, and Trick is a survivor. I mean, spending the last 2 years with him, getting close to him, writing his life story, it's something about the essence of who he is as a fighter. He's
survivor of the streets. I mean, he made it. He has quite a story. I mean, and we're going to get to that in just a moment. But just so we know who you are, we know that you're a former Miami Herald reporter. You actually left Time Magazine to come down here, work for the Miami Herald, and then you wrote a lot of stories based on the happenings of what was going on in the inner city, in the streets of Miami, and that caught the attention of Trick.
Yeah, it's bizarre how they say in life crossroads just meet. You know, I was at Time Magazine, and I wanted to write more stories having to do with everyday people.
Right.
You know, your power to the people stories per se. And I came to the Miami Herald, and fascinatingly enough, Miami is a city of many contradictions.
Right.
You know, we have some of those beautiful realities. One can imagine the mansions, the beaches. But then, you cross the bridge, and there's that dual reality of just despair. And I saw something there as a writer that I really wanted to delve into. And I spent a lot of time in Overtown, Liberty City, on Pork and Beans, Liberty Square houses, where Trick is actually from.
Okay. And
a lot of those stories caught the attention of his people. And he was moved by some of the workers. You know, Trick spends a lot of time in the city giving back. And he is that mere representation of everything that's the urban struggle of Miami. So it's fascinating that the 3 years I spent writing, all of these characters emerge in Trick's life, in his life story, and it's a true life story.
And what did you learn from covering Trick? And you covered him for a couple years?
This we first met December of 07 at his toy drive.
Wow.
Strangely enough. And it's as a writer, you are given this special pass into someone's reality. You're given this special invitation into someone's life that the average person wouldn't per se get, so their guards are let down. And I got to know the soul of who Trick is beyond the stereotypes, and which is a very powerful, very caring person.
And this is a person, though, that had a lot of struggles as a teenager. At the age of 14, at the age of 14, in the juvenile system, he was placed in the prison system.
Yeah.
At the age of 14,
he was tried as an adult. So I mean, I would make an argument to say, being of the hip hop generation, that Trick Daddy is probably the most authentic hip hop star there is. When coming to life imitating art,
right?
But his art is his life. So yeah, it's been, and what's unique and very humbling about him is that his reality is the reality of a lot of young men that grew up in that generation in Miami, in Overtown, in Opelika, in Goulds. And
Lupus, let's go ahead and get to Lupus here for a minute here. Lupus, he kept that kind of on the low. He didn't make that public that he had lupus, did he?
No. I mean, he giving the idea of hip hop, it's bravado. You know, like lupus affects, is a disease that primarily affects women. And strangely enough, lupus has made, I mean, Trick has made teenage women, black women especially, his own passion and seeing their elevation. One thing a lot of people don't know about Trick Daddy is that he's very, very compassionate about single moms. So for him to be afflicted with this disease, that, as you can imagine, can be very embarrassing with the lesions and the skin rashes and whatnot, he decided, look, I have a disease, Peter, that's affecting women, our women, and I want to shed a light on that. It's a disease that it's not been thoroughly researched because, as you can imagine, you know, not to be, give conspiracy theories, but it primarily affects women of color.
Right.
So naturally, maybe the research is not as, the powers that be are just not that passionate to jump on that.
And we know that that's something that he definitely wants to bring attention to. We do know that he does have a foundation here. Trick Loves the Kids. We know about that. So his book, when can we expect to see this book out?
We're expecting a Christmas release date. So we're hoping it's a gift. It's a gift of a life that just can inspire me. You know, it's a very inspiring tale. Whether you be a doctor in Coral Gables or you be a brother in Opelika doing what you do, it's a story we think that can really reach the masses.
All right, and the title of the book is?
Magic City: Trials of a Native Son.
All right. And his album, September 15th, Finally Famous, is coming out as well.
His first independent release.
Wow.
So it's historic for him. It's a historic moment for him.
It is?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, we definitely hope that he gets better. So definitely give him our best, and we definitely be praying for him indeed.
Definitely.
All right, Peter, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All right, well, we'll be right back with a lot more Focus. Stay with us.